Okay, we're gonna start with the spooky recommendation. About 10 years ago, before I had a child.
That's already spooky.
Memories.
Back when he was fun.
I would just be getting high at home and listening to old Halloween episodes of the Art Bell radio
Yeah,
show.
you used to do that.
Fuck, dude, I must have listened to 10 years of Halloween shows in like a week or two. And they fucked me up so bad.
I remember that.
I was fine during the day, but as soon as nighttime rolled around, I was scared, man.
Yeah.
I remember I had to bring the dog with me into the bathroom in the middle of the night to go pee.
Man.
Because I had the heebie-jeebies so bad.
That's so crazy. Is it like ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts?
Not really. But usually when you bring this up, people are like, well, let me tell you about the time I saw a ghost. You told me last time about seeing the lady.
That was probably just an optical illusion.
You think so?
I do.
Well,
I mean, we both saw it.
There you go.
Yeah. So are you recommending Art Bell?
I am going to say, go out there, pirate the shit out of them, download all the Halloween episodes.
Okay.
Get your spooky on. It's just people calling him with their true ghost stories.
What is he just a radio guy otherwise?
Mysterious Universe kind of, I feel like, picked up the mantle of Art Bell. But it's like the crackpot theories. And he wouldn't dispute anything anybody said, really. He would just kind of let them go and encourage them to keep talking. So there'd be all sorts of shit about aliens and other nonsense.
Okay.
But really, the Halloween episodes are the ones I listen to.
I'm fighting this thirst for blood that I've got right now.
You mean you don't mean human blood, do you?
Yes, I do, Art.
Didn't really answer my question. Was he just like a radio guy otherwise? And then around Halloween, he would just...
But he was a radio guy, but I mean, it would be aliens and like Area 51
like
shit.
Radio or like public access?
No, he was
NPR?
He was really popular. No, I don't know if it was on AM
Ham radio?
It was a real.
Okay.
He might have been on AM radio.
The number stations?
He had a compound. He had money.
Shit.
From doing the shit.
Guns?
He did it for like 20 years. He only died like in the last 10 years.
Oh, wow. We did it.
Art Bell. That was before the X-Files, that was probably your creepy dose.
Mm-hmm. You know, I was thinking about watching Pontypool again recently. I liked it the first time I saw it. You didn't like it.
It was fine. I don't know. I just don't have, there's not a lot of appeal to watch something again.
Do not translate this message. Just listen to me.
You know what it is for me? Although I don't find really anything spooky. When I stumble upon a good movie in a genre that I don't necessarily flock to, just kind of like want to watch it again. I was going to recommend The Signal for this Spooktober Fest we're doing.
1 out of 2 people just started killing each other. They just decided to kill people.
Because I really like that movie.
Not for us to watch, for people to watch, other people?
Well, they could. For us to watch. I think The Void kind of edged it out a little bit.
Don't worry, Daniel.
We've already both seen The Signal, though.
You've seen that?
Yes. That was like the first thing we bonded over when we met. Because we both had seen The Signal.
Again, that's right. We had a little bit of a bond fest.
Yeah.
When we were making this list, I didn't want to just put on things that are like characteristic of the season, but picking things that I hadn't seen felt like too big of a gamble. I picked a couple of things I hadn't seen, but I knew I liked The Void, and I thought it would be spooky for you, but I guess it really wasn't.
I only picked spooky things I hadn't seen that I had hoped would be spooky. After all my spooky research.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Jason.
And I'm Jules.
And we doing spookies! And on today's episode...
Come on down to the lake, mate.
We doing Lake Mungo.
Lake Mungo.
Lake Mungo.
Speaking of a movie that neither of us had seen before.
It's a fucking watering hole. Actually, I did try to watch it a long time ago.
Oh, now we tried to watch it a long time ago.
I forgot about this. But I tried to watch it. People said it was scary. And it was boring, and I didn't even get to the scary stuff. I think I fast-forwarded, too, trying to get, like, a creep out of it.
Oh, when you tried to watch it the first time?
Yeah.
So you actually did watch it?
No, I probably watched about 20 minutes of it, and then I skipped around trying to see if it would be creepy.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this thing's stupid.
So then why did you pick it?
Because since I gave up on it, I've heard several times people have mentioned it being a real top-notch creep fest.
Okay.
Lake Mungo, 2008. Strange things start happening after a girl is found drowned in a lake. It's Australian.
That's it?
Yeah, it's pretty much the movie there. She's out at the watering hole with her family.
They're in the dam?
They're swimming. And she doesn't come back up. And after a little while, they're like, well, she should be up by now.
Her bloody towel's still there.
But the girl's gone.
The bloody towel? I knew my sister was gone because the bloody towel was still there.
I could see Alice's towel. She had left it on the ground, and she clearly hadn't got out of the water, because then, she would have picked up her towel.
Eventually, people digging in the lake for? And 3 days later, they find her just resting on a shelf under the lake.
Come to rest on a shelf at the bottom of the stormwater cistern in the dam.
She's dead.
Did you like this movie? Did you get any weird, spooky feelings at all?
I mean, it's kind of like The Void. It had some payoffs.
Yeah.
I felt like this is mostly an atmospheric like grief movie, and I felt the use of shitty VHS and other like kind of grainy mediums really set a tone for it and really helped the creepiness come out.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple of moments towards the end where I was like, this is really good.
Okay.
But again, getting through the whole story, I don't know, man. Sometimes these horror movies, it's like, all right, I got like 5 minutes out of it that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, I was just kind of there.
It's tricky, I think, because it's a fake documentary. That's the setup for the movie. Spoiler alert. I think it does a really good job of emulating an actual documentary.
Yeah, it's great like that.
But
like when they show the funeral home guys. They just have like that weird
There's
shot
two
of them
guys standing there. Yeah. And I think the documentary framework undermines the movie.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's not the story that they're telling, but so you already know nobody's dead other than the daughter who died. It's not like, unless the movie, what I was hoping was the movie would catch up to a certain point, and now going forward,
shit's off the rails, ghosts
it's
everywhere.
like a found, like they're really filming on the fly, like they're doing a scene and then all of a sudden, shit goes fucking haywire or something. So now the camera's running around, or, I mean, I hate when they do that, but,
yeah.
I mean, would have been a little bit more interesting. I don't know. It's hard to say because on face value, there's seems to be real evidence of ghosts. To what end?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the acting was nice. I think that the documentary framework for it really allowed these actors to just like tear it up. They're like great at being sad. Everything felt truthful. Are we doing plot? I mean, that's the sister dies. The parents are having trouble dealing with it. The father has seen the dead body.
I thought that was my responsibility as Ellie's dad.
They show you the dead body. It's relatively horrific looking. Like blackened mouth and eyes.
It's
tail.
like white. It's like a cuttlefish, maybe some sort of a fish that this looks like a gross fish. Maybe it's a mungfish in Lake
Mungo.
Yeah, the family, goes out to a dam, watering hole. They're swimming, having a good time. The son decides to come back in.
So I started swimming back, and she didn't come out with me, so I thought she's going to stay in there.
And leaves the sister/daughter, who never comes back. And they look around and everything, and, they bring in a dive team, and a few days later, they recover her body. She drowned of some mysterious sort of circumstances.
Yeah, they never really explain that.
No,
I mean, perhaps something drowned her.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. She wasn't evil. She didn't have it coming to her. I don't know why that would happen.
Well, I mean, I guess
Maybe
she kind of did.
Not really.
They mentioned that.
But not that she deserved it. But that
well,
was
not that
coming
she
for her.
deserved. Right, but I mean, something I think was, I guess, coming for her. There's twists and turns.
We start seeing footage of her. They set up.
They start
cameras
hearing
around the
things
house.
in the house that they can't explain.
Stuff started happening around the house. Noises in the roof. And sounds coming from outside the window and other movements that seem to come from Ellie's old room.
The mother has a weird habit of going around at night for walks because she can't be in the house.
Yeah.
By early February, my nightmares were getting so bad that I began to go for walks at night, sometimes for hours at a time, just so that I didn't have to go to bed at night and close my eyes and go to sleep.
She can't sleep because she's seeing images. I think she mentioned seeing her daughter at the edge of their bed crying, which actually comes back later, which is odd because maybe it's her recalling that actual incident. Subconsciously maybe, but so she's just like walking into people's houses.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Isn't it?
She thought there was nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
She just wanted to be somebody else for a little while.
Some
real Jesus' son shit right there.
But I just can't talk about that right now.
I was hoping we would get a short interview from just some rando who mentions, June was in my house. At first I thought it was bloody weird, because it's June. It's not my wife. But, we don't get anything like that.
No, I think it's probably better they didn't do that.
Yeah, probably. The dad's burying himself in work.
And doesn't he recount the tale of the daughter's ghost racing at him.
She was completely oblivious to my presence. And then I don't know what happened. I must have moved the bed or, squeaked my shoes or something, but she went completely rigid. And I knew then that she knew I was there. And she slowly turned around and she looked me right in the eye, fully for, what felt like forever. And then she just came at me and stood up and said, "Get out, get out." And I just, got up and went out as fast as I could.
I'm getting creeped out right
Yeah,
now.
you are.
I just got the shiver.
And his coworker, he's like,
I believe he saw what he saw, and he's not the kind of man to make something up. So I believe he saw something. Whether it's a real ghost or not, I don't really know. But I'm sure he saw something.
So the son is an amateur photographer. What's that?
I'm creeped out.
Oh,
It's because it's dark out, man. It gets me more at night. We're talking about ghosts.
I even watched this. No, I didn't watch this at night. I fucked up. And so the son's like, well, let me just put up some cameras and just film some shit.
I kept hearing noises in the hallway. So I thought, well, I'll just set up a camera to see if, I see anything.
Sure enough, like the first night.
See her walking quickly past the camera?
Yeah, something. It's hard to tell what it is. I mean, it's a figure, but there's like no discernible features. Now, I will say I noticed the face immediately that comes back later. But because I didn't mention it, I was like, oh, I guess that's nothing.
Yeah.
And then the son also, he takes the same photo of their yard on some sort of a frequent basis.
Yeah, basically I've taken that same photo with that composition for, I think, every 3 months for the past 4 years.
Now, I didn't notice the image the first time when they showed it.
The thing that they reveal at the end?
Yes.
See, I vaguely knew that was within this movie, so I was constantly looking for that stuff, and I wonder if that was even in there.
They say it is.
Yeah, but
I didn't go back to watch it.
Yeah, it might be worth going back to watch it,
Might
but
be.
not really.
Because I think for me immediately, they do that a good job of. I mean, it looks like somebody's practically standing there.
Yeah.
But it looks photoshopped.
Yeah.
Also, so I think that drew my eye in immediately, and I didn't bother to look around because I was like, it looks photoshopped, and I was making fun of it.
Why would she look like that? And why would she be standing right there?
Like just clear as day.
Right in the center of the frame.
Well, it's basically the same shot, but it would appear that Alice is standing against the fence.
So they call in the psychic? Oh, no, they do the autopsy. And they exhume the body, and no, it's not. Because the mom didn't look at the corpse. The dad did. But it was so disfigured that he was like, well, maybe it wasn't her.
June was so convinced that I'd made a mistake that I actually started to have doubts myself. I started to think maybe I'd made my mind up that it was Alice's body before, I'd looked. And that the circumstances was so compelling for me that I decided that it was her.
And it determined that, it was her. So then they start putting up, I think maybe this is where they call the psychic in.
You're on Voice FM, 2 minutes past 8. I'm Helen Bath, and we're taking calls with psych consultant Ray Kamini.
And he does a reading with June, and they start putting up more cameras in the house. And they're capturing one from her bedroom. In the reflection of a mirror, you see her face as if she's sitting just outside of the camera frame. And then another one, there's a mirror on a mantle in the same room where she walked by that you can kind of see a face, But then they say, well, then this shocking video surfaced. So, before that, there was a picture at the lake.
Yeah.
Where in the background, they see a figure that kind of resembles the daughter.
The photographs were taken on the 3rd of April and they were developed on the 4th, and I looked at them, I think, on the 5th, and looked at the dams and the water levels, and I was quite happy, but it was only the following night that it was pointed out to me by my wife that there was something in the background in Norval Dam. This image came up.
pretty far away, but it's right where she died.
Super grainy. It's definitely her jacket. We come to learn. So this video all of a sudden comes out.
And came across...
Yeah, a figure in the background, which we identified as Bob Smeet, which interested us because there's, clearly we sort of went, oh, it was the same day he was there when he captured the image that people have been talking about. So then we went through all our footage to see if we perhaps might have captured that figure as well.
Maybe the camera had seen what Bob saw.
Yeah. And we did find a figure in the background, like the image that had been described in his picture. And then we looked more closely and, Doug zoomed in on it.
Yeah, well, I got right in on the computer and from what, could have looked like a female figure from a long way away, up close and tight, you could see that it definitely was neither female nor Alice. It was Matthew.
And it's like the sun walking off like fucking Bigfoot.
And I was wearing Alice's jacket, and I looked up and I saw a man on a hill who turned out to be Bob Smeet, and he didn't want to be in a photo, so I walked off.
So now the family's like, well, what the heck? And he's like, yeah, you know what? Everything has been fake.
Completely fabricated.
Except for the noises they were hearing and the door slamming.
Just all the video and
all the video, right.
It wasn't about trying to trick people. I guess it was like something was better than nothing.
So he put a TV on a shelf. And why? I mean, I guess he was editing the videos. So
this kind of ruined everything for me in the movie. I thought it had some nice momentum going, and then they're like, I made it up.
Right.
I made it all up to make my mom feel better.
To get him to do the autopsy. But my question is, they did the autopsy, and then he did the bedroom footage and the mirror on the mantle footage after the autopsy. So why... He mentions he photoshopped the photo of her in the yard. So why continue to do it?
I don't know.
After the fact, I can see initially being misguided and doing it to, because the dad, he wasn't sure. The mom never saw the body. Okay, I mean, why it wouldn't have been her? She ran away. I mean, questions. But so at this point, he's hanging out with the psychic dude.
Yeah.
They go on a road trip.
They're like buddies now.
Yeah, and when they come back, they were like, well, we probably only got about a day's worth of footage because we weren't there to change the tapes and the cameras. But let's just have a peeky pew.
Got back on August 22nd, at which point we checked the tapes.
And is that when they see her standing over their bed?
I thought it was another one where she's just off to the left.
Like she's off to the left, but I think it's peering through a door into a bedroom, and when she's actually looking down at a bed, I think.
Creepy. That's so creepy.
It is. That is the legitimate only creepy moment for me. I didn't realize, if I'm mistaken, I think it was a bed, which I came to the conclusion later on. So initially, I wasn't identifying that. Just the way she's like, it almost seems menacing now. And I'm like, oh, but that's a fleeting moment. Somehow we're led to the mom. Oh, so because of that, the mom's like, well, I better go back and look at all of the footage. That's when we see the one with the person walking by, but off to the far right.
While I was looking at Matthew's June 13 hallway material again, that I noticed something in the image. There was a second figure, not Matthew in the hallway, but someone else squatting in the dark in Alice's room. At first I thought it was Alice. Then I realised it was our neighbour, Brett Toohey.
That's our neighbour.
What's Glenn doing in this room?
Brett Toohey.
Why is he in my dead daughter's room rooting around like a pig?
And not only that, so she immediately realizes he was trying to get into a safe?
When I found Alice's safe, I realised exactly why he'd been there. He was looking for the tape.
Yeah, right. That's hidden behind a wall that nobody could know was there.
Well, and it's like, it's an old fireplace. So they just put this arch-shaped piece of wood or something in the fireplace because it's not in use anymore, I guess, that she just pulls out, and she pulls out the safe box, which has the key in
key's
the
right
lock.
in there, yeah.
And she finds
a VHS tape.
He was looking for the tape.
Yeah, because the daughter used to babysit for the neighbor.
Uh-huh.
So on this tape, as soon as it starts, we're just seeing like casual. How old is this girl?
I think she's still in high school, right?
Yeah.
It seems like she has a high school boyfriend. It just seems like high school.
Which
So she's 17.
I'm wondering the validity of this fake documentary showing the sex tape.
Yeah.
Right.
It did stand out. Like, really, you would show this?
You can show this?
I mean, it's blurred out, but yeah.
Sort of. I mean, it's blurry footage, but so there's a camera looking at a bed. Neighbor and his wife are doing sex with the daughter.
Literally just couldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah. Well, it starts off with her like hanging out on the couch, like she's chilling.
Yeah,
and
she's
then
kind
the
of
next shot is him
railing her. And then the wife comes in looking at the camera like
being sexy, like rubbing her arm and showing her tits.
Like she's one of the showroom girls on Price is Right. Like, and here's my husband having sex with the neighbor.
That's hot.
And there's no indication of how she got the tape.
She stole it.
Did she?
Yeah.
Just took it out of the camera?
She didn't want them to have it.
Ran away?
Yeah, I think she didn't feel good about the relationship.
Okay.
Shit, like
I hope the
Mungo.
mic picked that up.
Mungo followed us here.
So in any event,
the neighbors flee.
He flees. So yeah, he was trying to find the tape because the girl's dead, and they're assuming that they're just going to discover it, and it's a crime, even though they showed it in this movie. So they vanish.
Don't they eventually get him, but he gets in not much trouble?
No, they have a couple of leads that dries up.
And initially, we were optimistic that they would be found and charges laid. But unfortunately, the leads that we were working with soon dried up, and so the investigation stalled.
The cop lady that we see periodically throughout the movie, she goes, and I mean, to be perfectly honest, yeah, he probably only would have gotten a couple of months for whatever reason.
So the police advice to us was that even if the Tuohys were caught, they would get off with a suspended sentence by claiming that the sex was consensual, which was a claim, supported by the video evidence.
It's Australia, I guess.
Yeah, it's consensual, right? It's not like a rape. She's
Right.
chilling there. They didn't like drug her.
Yeah, it's hard to say what qualifies as statutory rape.
Yeah, I don't know about Australian laws, man. She's
Well-
17, but they're going to be like in their 30s probably, or late 20s.
Yeah, because I think you can, in Australia, I think you can drink when you're 18.
Yeah.
So things might be a little bit younger there.
Nobody is 6 until they're 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rule.
Mm-hmm. Better be. Bloody hell. And so that's a weird little side thing. Kind of, I guess, informs that they don't know as much about their daughter as they thought.
And it makes her, it's kind of sad. It makes her seem more haunted.
Mm-hmm. Because the mom
it's a
says,
bummer.
yeah, the mom says, well, we earlier we discovered that the mom doesn't seem to have the best relationship with her mother.
It felt a little strange having my mother there, Mum and I there for Alice. It just didn't feel like the right order of things.
But she even admits that she feels like she maybe didn't love her daughter as much or open up as much to her as she should have.
I hope that Alice did know how much I loved her. I guess I held something back a little as she grew older. That would be the saddest thing, to think she might not know.
Which I guess could speak to her then seeking these, other things for belonging or affection, or I don't know. It's inconclusive. But then the other shoe drops, and we realize that the psychic had actually met with the daughter previously, before all of this.
Why have you come to see me, Alice?
Can you interpret dreams?
Sometimes.
5 months before she died.
Who she even says, I feel like my time's up or whatever, and are you afraid of dying? And so the family feels utterly betrayed. Now, his excuse, which I think is valid, is that...
Look, I don't think it was a case of hiding something from them. It was more that I was honouring Alice's request for confidentiality. But it was damned if you do, damned if you don't.
She's a client. And although he has information that it isn't going to help them in any way, but he withheld it because of psychic client privilege. So they banish him. Get out of here, Sam or Max.
His name is Ray.
Ray, exactly. Although it's not his real name. His real name is something weird, but he changed it to Ray. It's like Stoltz or something.
I don't remember this part.
My Christian name is actually Schultz, but I changed it to Ray. I think it's a more trustworthy name for a psychic.
They find out something happened on the night of the campover.
Oh, yeah, because we see a friend of hers and her ex-boyfriend, well, technically ex-boyfriend. They didn't know anything about the sex.
No one did. Obviously I didn't. We wouldn't be going out if I did. It was no.
But they then realized that when they were on a school trip, they were using like flip phone cameras to record antics and shenanigans. So they show it to the parents. She's a little aloof, but not enough visibly where it feels like there's something wrong, to me at least.
Yeah.
Even though they said like, yeah, we could tell she just wasn't right.
She looked quite forlorn. I was worried. I became convinced that something had happened to her.
And at one point she walked off, but they see her off in the distance, and they realize that she's burying something in Lake Mungo.
Was it Lake Mungo?
Yeah, because the lake she died in wasn't Lake Mungo. The area that they go to, I think, is Lake Mungo.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Shame on me.
Mm-hmm.
For shame!
So they're like, well, clearly she's burying something, and she came home without her mobile, which they had bought her just recently.
I particularly remember it because she came home without her mobile phone, which we'd bought her a month previously.
And her bracelet and something else are gone.
Her favourite bracelet and watch.
Yep. And so, they pack up and they go out there. And they eventually find the spot. And they dig it up, and it's a bag. And in the bag is her phone. Bracelet, and something else that we don't know what it is.
Watch.
So they bring the phone back to the cabin they're staying in or whatever, and they charge it. And they play the video on there.
And this is my favorite part because it's quite creepy. The shitty flip phone technology, the creepy sameness of the landscape that is going to reveal something upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice build.
For me, it wasn't effective because the dread or the fear or just the impact of the revelation is once removed. It'd be one thing if this were like a traditional movie and she were stumbling around and we're seeing the film as it's occurring and then it comes at you. But none of these people are in danger, and it's just as if they're watching a YouTube video.
I feel like it's really scary and sad, dude. This girl's last couple months are pretty awful.
I mean,
she's
that
haunted.
one thing happened, but is she continuously haunted? It's interesting, but again, for me, because it's once removed and there's no other context. There's not even. The video just stops. So
it doesn't. Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Well, I was going to ask you something about this, but you just go ahead and tell it.
So out from the darkness emerges a face.
I don't think it emerges. She walks up.
I think it's
stationary.
It's. I thought it was approaching her.
Is it?
Maybe it's both.
It's even worse.
Maybe she's approaching it. I don't know.
Fuck.
It's utter darkness except for this white illuminated face that eventually is forefront in immediate in the flip phone camera video, and it's her. It's not as fucked up as the corpse, but it's got the same properties. Her left eye is closed. Her mouth is sort of askew and agape. I don't know. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't.
No, it's just there.
It just is there.
Yeah.
That's spooky.
It's so terrible. It's so scary.
But the spookiness for me then would be, then what? Does she turn and run and keeps looking back and it's just there, or it's following her, or
I don't think
goes into her?
No, I don't think it comes after her, man. I think she encountered it.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine she got the fuck out of there not long after the video.
And then buried her phone.
Yeah, why did she bury her phone and her bracelet?
And watch.
That's so strange.
Maybe, right, like is the phone possessed? Can you just erase the video?
Have they all been ringooed? Is that now that you've seen the video, it's coming for you?
Mm-hmm. They realize that, it feels very much no big deal.
Well, I think they're like, well, yeah, so that's a ghost.
She saw a ghost of her dead self.
I recognized it immediately. It was her. That's what she looked like when they took her out of the lake.
See, I didn't. I didn't even realize it was her until he said it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess that makes sense. Because right when the movie starts, there's a soundbite from what we then learn is the psychic interview between the daughter and Ray, where she says,
I feel like something bad is going to happen to me. I feel like something bad has happened. It hasn't reached me yet, but it's on its way.
So it basically seems like, for whatever reason, when she was at Lake Mungo, she encounters her dead self, and from that point forward is doomed to die. Now, it's unclear if, some force drowned her, if it was some sort of a psychic, blast that foretold her future, I mean, it's like, we don't know anything about Lake Mungo.
Yeah, it almost seems like a real bummer of just a vision of death.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, why would you drown in that hole, like in the water?
It's just a lake.
Yeah, like maybe she had a heart attack and just fell.
That's just it. We don't know.
Yeah, I wish they'd clarified that a little bit.
I don't think they, in the autopsy, the second autopsy, they don't point to anything mysterious or
she's
just drowned.
There.
Yeah,
So maybe, man, that's the big problem here is I don't know if it's nefarious that she can see these things or if it's just unfortunate. She just happens to be enlightened and can pick up on these forces.
Just
and
her
senses her doom. Yes,
right? Or is it Lake Mungo? Is it, you know what I mean? Like, because nobody else saw anything like that.
And what about the image of Lake Mungo? How do you think Alice would have explained that?
How could she have explained it? But I think Ellie saw a ghost. But she wasn't to know that it was her own.
I believe she recorded a ghost. I believe she recorded the future coming to get her.
And they bring Ray back in to their lives after a little bit, and does it just seem like everything stops then once they?
Yeah, I think once they uncovered the tape and like all of her secrets, then she's kind of able to move on. Is sort of what they seem to be saying.
I think we all felt that after Mungo, in our own ways, there'd been closure, I suppose, to a degree. And for each of it, it's different. And for each of it, we've made our own peace.
Right.
Like, she's not as loud there. It seems like
the
she's
family
let
decides
go.
to sell the house. The mom, she does one last reading with Ray where she kind of talks about being in bed or no. Somehow she's in, he makes them do a weird thing when they're like, look, vision your house, now go inside, what do you see type shit. And she doesn't see her daughter anymore, I think. Where one night she woke up and she just felt weird. So she went to her parents' room and stood at the foot of their bed, but she couldn't bring herself to interact with them. And she just stood there and watching them and just wept uncontrollably. And then eventually just left. Now, the mother, when she's talking about sleepwalking, she says she keeps having this dream where she sees the daughter at the foot of their bed.
There was one particular one, it was quite vivid and recurring. Alice would come down the hall, still dripping from the dam, and just stand at the foot of our bed, just staring at us. It was quite terrifying. As I said, I didn't want to open my eyes.
So I don't know if, she maybe awoke when her daughter was doing that in real life but didn't realize it, and it's subconscious.
I thought the daughter said that she has dreams where she can see her parents, but they can't see her.
Okay.
They can't hear her.
Yeah. Again.
It seems like she's having dreams of
the future.
Ghostly future.
Yeah. It's interesting. It didn't really, do anything.
No.
Because then the family takes a photo one last time outside the house.
Just the three of them this time, yeah.
Yep. And the movie does that slow pan to the house, to the window behind them, and there's like a figure.
Yeah, the closer you get to it, the less it looks like anything.
It's just a white thing. But then, while the credits are rolling, they start showing parts of the movie that we had seen, like the picture of her in the backyard, and it pans over to the far right, and she's actually sitting. Again, crystal fucking clear.
Yeah, how would you not see her?
How would he not? He's intimately engaging with this photo, doctoring it, spending time with it, and he doesn't.
It's not a wall mural. It's a photograph.
Because he's probably thinking like, where should I put her? Where, no, I won't put her over there because she's already there. And then there's another thing. I don't remember what the other one is. Some other part of the movie we had seen before.
There's like 3 or 4 of them.
Maybe like the fake footage, but something
She's
else is
actually
really in there.
Yeah,
I don't know. And then it's over.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's a really well done fake documentary, but I didn't find any of it except for that one moment where we see her for the first time for real, spooky. And now I'm also like, well, what did they do? They just cut the footage and made this movie? Are people going to think it's fake? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a somewhat empty experience with some good creeps in it.
Because again, it's like, why the daughter? Why did the boy put so much effort into his fake spooking?
I wonder if there's like some Australian lore about
Lake Mungo.
Yeah, or like lakes that take people and they see visions of their death before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like probably not, but maybe.
I mean, it would lend itself a little bit more to helping understand this movie, I guess. But
there was a dramatic event to explain all this extinction. It was the Lake Mungo magnetic reversal. ANU scientist Barbetti discovered this in the 60s, and the evidence was within the rocks around Lake Mungo.
If you have any idea if there's any story behind this, or you can clarify this movie at all, give us a call. 763-634-1897. Yes, even you can leave us voicemails. Or drop us a line at wedoingfilmographies@gmail.com. What do you rate this on a spookometer?
Well, let me just throw this out there. There's a promotional poster for the Beatles album Love on the wall in the background of a photo of Alice, because they keep showing like photos of the family throughout the movie. Love was released in November of 2006. Alice died in December of 2005.
What the fuck?
This girl, the premonitions never stop. On the spookometer, breaking news, Leonardo DiCaprio has split from girlfriend Camilla Marone, according to People magazine. Apparently that's on the Black People Twitter account. On the spookometer, where I had nowhere safe, I found this a little bit more effective because it was a really well done movie. I'm gonna land it with a 4. I didn't find any of it necessarily spooky. I had a little bit of a chill from that 1 3-second moment, but it's well crafted in a way that held me while I was watching it, and I could see where spooky elements might come into play. But you know what? I mean, the Changeling was kind of a little bit spookier, so I'm just gonna give this one a 3.
Okay, what do you give it on a movie scale?
On a movie scale, a 6.
Nice.
Yeah, it is a really well-made fake movie, but that doesn't lend itself to spooks because of that.
Yeah,
I think. What about you?
I'm gonna give it a 7 on the spookometer.
Oh wow,
man! It's just
we got a winner.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chills.
Yeah, it gave me the chills. Gave me the willies a few times.
Did you take the dog to the bathroom with you?
No. It had a tone. It had a vibe. I'm going to give it a much lower score as a movie, but I felt like it did those spookies.
7 on the spookometer.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7 on the spookometer.
And as a movie?
I'd give it like a 5, even though it's really well made. Ultimately, it kind of felt like it was about nothing.
It did.
It felt like there was nothing to it. It was just an excuse to do those couple of creepy moments that gave me the creeps.
It's very small and insulated and intimate, but ultimately, yeah, I mean, the daughter wasn't like, I mean, she was kind of haunting them technically, but she wasn't like haunting them. For whatever reason, she wanted them to find that tape primarily, and I guess her phone.
Yeah, I mean, I would like some answers about that. Everybody was fantastic in this movie. Nobody seemed fake.
Mm-hmm.
It was stylish. Just like, I didn't really feel like I watched anything when it was over.
I think that's the problem. There was no direction from the haunting. In The Changeling, the ghost is literally speaking, but, there's a trail that leads to something. And here, I mean, if the girls hadn't have ever shown them their phone footage, there would probably never would have even thought to, look for the phone or whatever.
Maybe like the tape, the sex tape,
Mhm.
the reason she wanted them to find it is because that guy's like a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like a rapist. Something as terrible is happening.
I mean,
like maybe that would have been a little bit like the ghost being able to solve a problem.
Mhm. But again, like, it seemed consensual.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So it's,
There's no
kind of
point
just
to the
throwing the guy under
haunting.
the bus.
Yeah.
Bit of a prude, this ghost. Yeah, there isn't, again, because she just seemed to drown. I mean, maybe it was preordained by fate, at which point then, you got what you had coming. But it'd be one thing if, like, yeah, she had, maybe if that guy had killed her because he's trying to get the tape.
Yeah, that would have been good.
You get a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of a murder kind of going on in there.
But how would he have done that? The whole family's there, right? It's so crazy.
That's just it,
He's
yeah.
got himself a ski.
He slipped or something.
He's a frog man. He's hiding under the water.
He slipped or something that rendered her unable to swim. So she locked up.
And landed on that water shelf. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, y'all. It's worth where's the spooky poke?
Yeah, I mean, check it out. The lights off, under the covers.
It's the highest rated spooky the whole run
Thus
of this
far.
podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. What do we got next? Do we just have 2 more left, right?
Two more each. Next week
we haven't
is,
decided. I don't even know what's on my list. That's how little I give a shit.
Next week is Ouija 2.
Okay.
And
Oh, okay. Where is my list? Jesus Christ.
And then after that, we have VHS 99 and gotta be real slash.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Ouija 2, specifically, not Ouija.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Ouija.
Yeah, the Ouija 2 is supposed to be real good.
I think I saw Ouija in the theater.
2 is supposed to be much better. It's a Flanagan.
Because, like horror movies, but shitty ones.
It's a Mike Flanagan movie. It was the second one, yeah.
I mean, I'm not up on... I know who he is, but I don't really...
He made your vampire show.
Yeah.
Midnight Mass.
Mm.
Haunting of Hill House.
I never watched that.
Oh, the first one's good. The Hush. Did you ever see Hush?
You know what I did?
Fuck, that movie's great, dude.
With the mask and the deaf
the
lady?
Deaf lady?
Yeah.
That fucking rules.
People shit on that movie, man.
Why? Why would you? Why would you have anything rude to say about that movie at all? It's phenomenal. So, guys, why don't you follow us on that We Doing Filmographies on Instagram?
Yeah.
How about some Twitter?
Yeah. Do Filmographies.
Facebook?
We Doing Filmographies.
What about the YouTube?
We Doing Filmographies.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
And we already talked about the email and the phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, by the end of the Crude Up run, we're going to have 100 listens total.
Hell yeah.
This podcast. We're only 9 away.
Hell yeah.
We still got 3 weeks before the Crude Up run's over.
Isn't there a Crude Up that has 100 listens?
No.
I'm
talking about podcast listens. I'm not counting YouTube.
You're not talking that, yeah.
The YouTube numbers are strange, y'all.
I mean, that,
We
yeah.
got like 700 listens on Sleepers
I
or
hate
something.
YouTube, man.
Yeah.
Like on my phone, if I'm like just scrolling through and I set it down and it's on a video, there's no sound, but it starts playing. And then that'll count as...
Counts as a hit, bro.
And I go like, what happened to that show? And I go, I already watched it. What the hell? I didn't watch that shit.
It's a bamboozle.
It is.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. We'll see you next week with more spookies.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I didn't used to, but it's a hard thing to prove or disprove.